All right, what up, guys? Erin Coscarelli with my guy, Tyler Dragon of USA Today. Welcome to another episode of Bleav in Rams. We are officially, I want to say 28 days from Rams training camp, which will be held at Loyola Marymount University starting on July 24th. Going through August 3rd. So exciting days ahead. So we're officially 28 days out. And I figured, you know what? Let's talk about some of the things that are coming up in the news cycle with regards to the Rams. They just came back from Maui camp. They went to Maui for their mandatory mini camp. I don't know how many Mai Tais were had, but you thought it was a pretty cool experience, Tyler, and we're just a little sad we didn't get the invite to go and cover them in person, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wish I was in Maui with the Rams, having some Mai Tais, but also working, of course, working number one
Right.
priority. But from what I heard, everything went well. Obviously, they raised money for the fires in Maui, and they had a good time with the fans. Some flag football efforts as well, and then they also promoted the Hawaii Tourism Association for fans in the States and fans all over the world to let them know, to highlight that just the whole state of Hawaii is a great place to visit, a great place to vacation. One of my good friends had a wedding there, and I was amazed just how beautiful Hawaii was, because I hadn't been there since I was a little kid. So yeah, that's why I was so jealous that the Rams got to just go to Hawaii and have minicamp there. They had by far the best minicamp location in the NFL. Might be the best minicamp location in history of the NFL. But yeah. So yeah.
I know it was really cool, the initiative to collaborate with a place that had also experienced destruction with wildfires, bring some awareness there, and then also some team building. Like, what did you think Sean McVay sort of took away as a coach? I mean, because he said that maybe there wasn't going to be a lot of football stuff. It was more about team building. In your opinion, you've been covering the NFL for a really long time. Did you think that was a smart strategy for the Rams to do?
I like it that you brought that up, because yes, I do believe it's a smart strategy, especially this time of year during the off season when there's mini camp, OTAs. It's all about building camaraderie, especially when you have new faces in the building, like a Davante Adams, like a Terrance Ferguson, and so on. You want to build that cohesion on your whole depth chart. Offense, defense, special teams, because that's going to carry over into training camp and then the regular season. So it is very important this time of year to start building on chemistry, especially when you have new faces that are expected to contribute right away on your roster, and particularly like Davante Adams and Terrance Ferguson.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a little bit here with Tyler Dragon of USA Today, my co-host. Bleav in Rams. We are about a month away from training camp. The Rams are hosting it at Loyola Marymount University yet again. And look, it's a perfect time to just kind of have those bigger conversations, evaluations about the team. I think big picture questions, getting a chance to sort of, look at what the Rams are going to need to address next year. What some of their issues were, like you mentioned, they have new guys on the team. How much of an impact are they going to have? How immediate will their impact be in terms of, you've got a guy like Terrance Ferguson competing for that starting role at the tight end position. Davante Adams, we've talked about, how quickly does the chemistry end up happening between a veteran superstar like Davante and his new quarterback in Matthew Stafford. But one of the things that was really interesting that I wanted to talk to, that was an issue for the Rams last year, Kobe Turner mentioning explosive runs as the Rams' Achilles heel last season in 2024. In your opinion, Tyler, seeing this team, obviously a new defensive coordinator last year with Chris Shula, new responsibility, not having Aaron Donald, What specific adjustments do you foresee the Rams addressing to sort of shore up that? Because guess what? They're going to face the Eagles again. Week 3. It's happening, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I still remember those runs from Saquon Barkley, those 70-yard runs he had, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. I mean, man. But I think first you start with personnel. And one of the most underrated moves in all the NFL in free agency was the Rams' acquisition of Poona Ford. I think Poona Ford was one of the most improved interior defensive linemen last year for the LA Chargers, right across the street. So, and now he is with the Rams. And this is a guy who has all the, ability in the world to be a standout 3 technique or nose tackle. And at that defensive tackle position, he's a run stuffer, but also he can rush the passer from the interior. So I think you start there. And then also I look at the middle of their defense and at linebacker. Now, I was a proponent of the Rams getting a linebacker at the top of the draft, whether that be a first or second round pick. We all know that did not happen. But Nate Landman, I think he's a pretty good linebacker. He was filled in nicely for the Falcons last season, and he is a sure tackler, but I wanted to see them upgrade that position a little bit more this offseason. We'll see what he can do in the middle of the Rams defense. But overall, I do believe that Sean McVay and the defensive staff are going to have to shore up game plans in that 3-4 defense where they can stop the run, especially against upper echelon running backs, because Saquon Barkley and the Eagles aren't going anywhere. And, within your own division, the 49ers expect Christian McCaffrey to be healthy again. And so there are some running backs that the Rams are going to have to face this coming regular season. So you got to shore up that run game quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. Didn't get to face McCaffrey, and who knows what that matchup would have looked like based on what we saw coming out of Philly from Saquon. It was definitely the Achilles heel, as Kobe Turner mentioned, and something I'm imagining Shula, McVay, and company are going to have to figure out how to address. I interviewed JB Long, and he had mentioned the Poona Ford signing and how he thought that was going to be a nice net benefit for the Rams, and sort of reorganizing or re-envisioning the defense that had a lot of issues, like you said, holes in stopping the run. And it'll be interesting. I mean, do you see a massive upgrade or improvement from the Braden Fisk, Jared Verse dynamic duo that we saw from them last year? Jared Verse obviously coming off a Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign. Do you foresee, sometimes they talk, and you've played football, so is there a sophomore slump? Is this something that, Rams fans may have to be worried about?
I really hate the idea of a sophomore slump. I always bemoan that, but it does happen. And that's why people call it a sophomore slump in your second season. But when it comes to Braden Fisk and particularly Jared Verse, I think they are ready for the challenge. Jared Verse, I was at the OTAs when he went to the podium, and he talked about how he believes he's going to be a better player this year, and how he left many sacks on the table last year, and he's upgrading his form and trained with Aaron Donald, although that probably did not go well based on the pictures. But I do think that Jared Verse is going to even be a better player for the Rams. And that's a really good sign for LA, especially considering he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. And as far as Braden Fisk, I think the acquisition of Poona Ford is going to help him out. And just playing alongside of him and Kobe Turner. I mean, that is two of the better defensive linemen in the NFL. And when you put Braden Fisk in there, I mean, that will make his job easier because he's probably not going to see a lot of double teams and a whole lot of attention when you have that much talent along your defensive front. So I expect them to have improve on their rookie seasons. Both.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a valid question, the sophomore slump question. And, you've seen about the NFL. Before we switch gears and we go and talk, offense and maybe dive into a little Terrance Ferguson, what would you say at this point, all of the acquisitions and now draft choices that the Rams have made, is there still a big question mark on the roster for you when you look at this team? Is there still something that you're sort of like, I'm a little concerned by this?
I think one, you have to look at the running back position. I know Kyren Williams wants a new contract. So is he going to get paid? We know that running backs for the past couple seasons, they've been getting paid quite handsomely. So you will want to see what's going to happen with Kyren Williams. And also along the offensive line, the Rams last year, we talked about it ad nauseum at the beginning of the season, how their offensive line was in shambles. They were injured. It was a revolving door, and they didn't really get any continuity until the latter portion of the season. And there's not a coincidence that they started playing well towards the middle and the end portion of the season because that offensive line started to gel. And so those are questions I have. And still, I mean, said it in the answer before, defense, what are you going to do to stop the running game? Yes, Poona Ford is an addition, but are you satisfied with where you are right now defensively with stopping the run? And then also on the outside in the secondary.
I was going to say cornerback of some kind. Yeah.
I already know that you want Jalen Ramsey to make his return and reunite with the Rams. So I have to say what I have heard from sources is there is no deal that's imminent with Ramsey and the Rams. And even Sean McVay has said that, he hasn't said it, but you can kind of read between the lines that they're not really in the Jalen Ramsey sweepstakes right now. That can change at any moment. But if I was a betting man, I would bet that Jalen Ramsey winds up somewhere else, even though you can see a fit with the Rams. They have a young secondary, and you fit Ramsey in there. He can be that kind of veteran leader in place. He obviously knows the system, knows the team in and out, won a Super Bowl with the Rams. So you can see how that marriage would work, but I just don't believe it's in the cards for Ramsey or the Rams right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people tuning in at home, avid Rams fans. My time with Sean McVay when he's talking about whether or not Jalen's going to be in a Rams jersey this season, he sort of does a very good job at coach speak. I'm not going to read between the tea leaves, but he has, and you never know. I feel like the Rams are really smart about not trying to overspend on a talent, right? It just seems that they're not willing to give up so much for someone like that. So who knows? I mean, maybe they'll come to a place, a negotiation where the price is right. But when we've had McVay at the podium, he has said, look, if Jalen doesn't come to the team, he's happy with the guys he has. So, and I think a lot of mock drafts were kind of suggesting that the Rams should get a cornerback, and they never ended up addressing that position. And I think a lot of the media has been focusing on does that make sense? Is that something that they had issues with last year? And will it be an issue for them this season? Which is why the Jalen Ramsey acquisition would have made sense. But I think for those listening at home, those Jalen Ramsey Rams jerseys, I don't know if they're going to come out of retirement. So we shall see.
And the other side of this is the Dolphins have lost a lot of leverage when it comes to Jalen Ramsey, because you pretty much have blasted it out there that you guys are going to part ways with Ramsey. So if I'm the Rams or any other team interested in a cornerback or Jalen Ramsey, I'm not going to give up a whole lot of assets when you have already told me that he's not going to be in your team and you're ready for an amicable divorce. So why would I trade a premium pick or give up assets when, in all likelihood, if I wait it out, you're probably going to have to release him, because you already told the whole world that he's not going to play in your team. He wasn't at mandatory minicamp. So I'm not going to give up a second round or third round pick. And in addition, going to have to give him a contract extension when I can just wait for you to release him. It's kind of like the whole Kirk Cousins thing with the Atlanta Falcons. It's just on the defensive side of football.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. I think you're absolutely right. This is where the Rams really do a very good job when it comes to sort of navigating the cap and trying to put pieces together that make the most sense. And again, this could all be coach speak, maybe alluding to like what you said. They're like, hey, we don't need him that badly. So if you want to release him, we'll consider it. But under these certain circumstances, they're probably not going to give up a whole lot. So anyways, we shall wait and see regarding Jalen Ramsey, but that all remains to be seen. Switching gears, we talked a little bit about this as soon as he was sort of added on the draft, day 2 of the draft, when it came to Terrance Ferguson. I'm really curious to circle back and get your perspective now that he's sort of acquired and has had more time with the team. Terrance Ferguson, the rookie tight end out of Oregon. Realistically, for you in your perspective, how patient do you think McVay will be or show with Ferguson? And how realistic do you believe he could win the job over Tyler Higbee? Excuse me.
Rams fans aren't going to like this answer, but I think McVay is going to be as patient as he was with Blake Corum.
Oh, no.
And I'm not saying that he's not going to play Terrance Ferguson, and he'll probably get more snaps than Blake Corum. But Tyler Higbee is one of Stafford's favorite targets. He's obviously a really good tight end. And when he is healthy on the field, I mean, you can make a case that that's your bona fide third option right there behind a Puka Nacua and a Davante Adams. So when the Rams run 12 personnel, one running back, 2 tight ends, I think Tyler Higbee is going to be in there when they run 2 tight end packages. So I can see him playing. Obviously, you would hope more than Blake Corum played his rookie year, especially considering the packages the Rams could run with 2 tight ends. But I just don't see him starting and supplanting Tyler Higbee in the starting lineup in year 1. Now, I do believe that he is the tight end of the future when Tyler Higbee is no longer with the Rams. But this coming season, I think Ferguson is still going to be tight end 2 for LA.
Yep. Great point. Here with my guy, Tyler Dragon of USA Today, talking about the rookie Terrance Ferguson on Bleav in Rams. We are 28 days out of training camp at LMU. And it's interesting that you say that. I don't know if I love the Blake Corum comparison because I think that's another question that a lot of people are going to have is like, is Blake Corum going to be in the mix when they, also drafted another running back? That remains to be seen as well. But how often do you think you're going to see the 2 tight end set with a Ferguson and a Higbee?
So the Rams are known for running a lot of 11 personnel, and that's one running back, one tight end. So with that being said, Sean McVay has shown the willingness to go to different personnel packages, whether that be 10 or 12 or 13, whatever, or 21 in some cases. So I do Bleav that since their roster is catered toward maybe a two tight end look, considering you drafted a tight end in the second round to go with Tyler Higbee. And then when you look at the receiving corps, yes, you have a Davante, and yes, you have the Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. But to me, I would probably try to run 12 personnel a little bit more. I mean, I won't put a percentage on it, but I would try to run it a little bit more, because we've seen, based on the history of the NFL, when you have two tight ends on the field, you're better off. You have a higher percentage of successful running plays. And so that will help Blake Corum out. That will help, Kyren Williams out. So I really do think that you'll see it a little bit more, but I still Bleav their bread and butter is going to be the 11 personnel.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think that they're trying to preserve the Kyrens and their run game. Obviously, he had a lot of tread on his tires last year from all the injuries, and with both wideouts being out for an amount of time, I think it just seemed like he was so amped on getting a Terrance Ferguson, because he's been wanting that tight end playmaker. So it'll be interesting to see how much he does get involved and how soon and how early he gets involved in the season. But I think you make a great point that Sean McVay is not going to try to rush anything too soon. And plus, like you said, Tyler Higbee is one of Stafford's favorite targets. So speaking of Stafford too, and this will be my last question as we sort of take a wide lens look at the Rams so far. A lot of the questions that might be getting asked as we inch closer to the season, with regards to how that defense is looking, and of course the new added playmakers on the offense, and how that's going to end up shaking out. Will they return to NFC West title holders next season? We shall see. But with Matthew Stafford, like, he's obviously, what is he? He's 37 now, I think. Yeah, he turned 37 in February. Do you really feel, and of course they didn't draft a quarterback. That was something that people talked about. Maybe they're going to draft
a reminder that.
Yeah, I know. Still owe you a drink for that. Do you really feel that 2025 is the final window for a Matthew Stafford deep playoff run?
No, because when I look at the Rams across the board, they have a really good blend of veteran leaders, veteran talent, and also youth talent. And Sean McVay and Les Snead have done a tremendous job since winning the Super Bowl of still building a competitive team while also, retooling your roster. I remember when the Rams and Aaron Donald said he was going to retire, I was one of the first to say, okay, they're going to have to rebuild. But they didn't really have to rebuild and start from ground zero. They kind of retooled, and we've seen they're still AFC West champions, went to the divisional round and playoffs. So I say that to say that the Rams under Stafford, I think they have a couple more years where their window is wide open, where they are one of the few contenders in the NFC. And I think you can, kind of say, okay, Davante Adams signed a 2-year deal. Let's see how long he stays in LA, because as long as Stafford remains committed and stays, and Puka Nacua is committed, I think they have a couple years where they're going to be vying for the NFC Championship game and being the representative of the NFC in the title game. And that's not, exaggerating. That's not, being, because I'm saying this because I'm on the Bleav in Rams podcast. I just think that the Rams, when I look at their roster, they have a really good players at premium positions, and quarterback, receiver, edge rusher, defensive line, running back. These are positions that you need really good players to be successful in the NFL. Now, as long as their offensive line continues to gel, their secondary continues to get better, the Rams you can stack them up against anybody in the NFC.
Yeah, no, those are great points. I mean, I feel like they need Stafford just even next year to bring along a young rookie in the event they end up drafting somebody, or how that whole quarterback room is going to end up looking like. So all great points and perspectives from Tyler Dragon of USA Today. Go read his work. Okay, cool. Well, listen, that's a wrap. I mean, it's summertime. There's not a ton of news to report, but like I said, we've got training camp coming up, and then the season's here, and that's crazy. So, a lot of fun, a lot of good speculation. I mean, I feel like the Rams are doing everything they can at this point to keep up, like you mentioned, in the NFC, and the big contender will be the Eagles in terms of stopping the run, their physicality, and just figuring out how to keep that defense, that young defense, in line throughout the entire season. So
I have a question. Now that you said that, I do have a question for you. I want a question for Erin. Who's the biggest threat for the Rams in the NFC West?
Yeah, I doesn't it remain to be the Niners? It feels like it's always going to be the Niners. They had that asterisk last year just because of their injuries, but you can't not account for the McCaffrey, the Shanahan, the fact that team just feels like the Rams' Achilles in the division. So I mean, that seems like the obvious, but I almost feel like that's a trick question because you want to go with the Seahawks.
No. I'll save my answer for a later day. I wanted to end on an Erin answer.
Yeah, but I appreciate evoking your journalistic skills, Tyler Dragon. He is an incredible writer for USA Today. Go check out his work, and we always appreciate your time, especially in the middle of summer. We know you got a million things to do, and it's not just being awesome on Bleav in Rams. But that's a wrap for us. For Erin, Coscarelli, Tyler Dragon, thanks guys for listening, and we will talk to you next time. See ya.